scanner. And scanners, by the way, usually come with PDF creation software, but we'll need that at the bottom. You're going to need a web browser. You do need an active email address. And frankly, I recommend that I have a special email address that is only used for this, and then it comes to me and is copied to my staff. So that it's, but at any rate, that's not a bad idea. Anyway, you need some word processing software that can write a Word document. It doesn't have to be a Word. Doesn't have to be Word. You do need a PDF conversion software. Once again, that usually comes with a scanner. And while Acrobat is extremely good software by Adobe that makes PDF, you can use any software, including the software that comes with the Iowa State Bar Association's Iowa Docs that many of us use. It contains that software. So, but you do need a PDF creation. Antivirus. Antivirus and firewall type of software. If you submit a document with a virus, you can probably guess that Ken's very competent IT department will get it out of there real quick and you won't have a filing. So, and I put antivirus as sort of a requirement because I think it might be. Let's talk a little bit about what it looks like on the office side of it, or some of you may be saying, well, where is this going? What will it look like on my side? Well, for over the last, we've been scanning for probably 10 years, but over the last 7, 8 years, I guess 8, I don't know, long time, we scanned 100% of the documents in our office. And we've worked with that and find it extremely useful to have that. And basically, a document management system is just a system that allows you to retrieve these scans so that you can bring them back and get them when you need them. What does it do? It organizes the documents. It allows you to search through the documents. Search is just a key. If you have OCR to your PDFs, you can then search for them. Example I always remember is my father with his very faithful secretary talking about they need a buy-sell agreement. And what buy-sell agreement? Today I could put buy and sell, and it would come up with every buy-sell agreement that's been done in the last 8 years. And that kind of, or if you're on a conflict, you're looking, have we ever represented this person? Well, I can do a search and find out that, oh, it's not really maybe a conflict, might or might not be, but it was a beneficiary of the state I did a long time ago, which is going to be very useful and type of information. It will facilitate your filing. It is not required. You can keep your office exactly like you've got it, run everything on paper, and just scan these documents. But I would encourage you, and I think many of you already have and probably already will, start organizing these scans. You want to secure your documents, obviously, and have selective access. You also want to provide for backups. Now, let me stop here. A couple of things on the security. It's been said before, but let me say it again. You are absolutely responsible for your login and password, using a one-word password that you've also used on every one of your bank accounts, your Facebook account, and every account you've got is probably not a good idea. You do need to change your password. This is really a critical thing. On the other hand, as lawyers, and only lawyers, you are allowed to let your staff use it. And I've had a number of people say, well, it's not always older, but it could be an attorney that isn't very good at computers, and it isn't required that every attorney have the ability to electronically file. It is a requirement that every firm has someone in the firm who can electronically file. So this could be a staff person. This could be one attorney to do this. You can arrange it like you like. But keep remembering, you are responsible for that filing. In fact, one suggestion I've made that I think is quite good for firms, at least consider this, is to have one person in the firm who's responsible for electronic filing. In other words, when you're ready to file your document, you're going to hand the document to that person who's going to go through it and do the scanning, make sure the scans are correct, make sure the scans are readable, and do the electronic filing. I think that makes a lot, and make sure that it comes back. The same person's going to monitor the electronic filing account or accounts and make sure that there's been no notices or anything else. Now, the notices will come by email, but remember, if you don't, if something happens to the email, you're still considered to have gotten the notice. So you do want somebody to check it. But it's back to, we don't need every attorney in every firm doing this. We just need someone in every firm. And I think you've got to keep that into the perspective. And by the way, we intentionally did that so that we wouldn't be excluding, or cause as little problem in that area as possible. Law office document management. The one thing that and I can say this from years of experience, is the electronic file is much better than the paper file when you really get it going. And in other words, a paper file will have, picture your paper file, here it is, and what's in it. Well, my electronic file has all of those documents, but it has faxes, it has research. The research actually has links to the Westlaw, or wherever you get your research from. It's got all the telephone messages. It's got a lot more documents in it than your old paper file. And I think you quickly find this. One other thing, I kind of skipped over backup back there. I cannot stress backup enough to you. From my own experience, and I think from some others, it is very, very critical to back up your servers and your documents. I can tell you from my very small firm, I've got one server that we use, and that's really all we need. It's more powerful enough to handle the little firm. But I have a second server sitting next to it that's only 3 hours behind it, that continuously, if server 1 goes down, everybody in the firm knows to go to server 2. But I have a third server at my house. And I actually have a good friend who's a lawyer whose firm did burn down. And picture that happening, and by the way, it doesn't matter whether you're talking paper or electronic, picture that happening. You need to have backups off-site. This is basic office management, but I can't say it enough, and that you do need to have that, and you do need to be ready to go. Having a backup tape somewhere that you have no idea whether it really works or not, or where you're going to get the software to bring it up. This is really not directly related to electronic filing. It's just a good time to talk about that sort of thing. By the way, I have video depositions in my electronic file. Something you might have the video cassette. I actually have the video in there. If somebody calls me at home and says, the so-and-so just died, and my uncle just died, who's the executor, I can look that up at home and find it. It's extremely useful to have this kind of thing. There are issues you need to talk about that I certainly think you should look into that aren't all easy. I'm going to try, but anyway, scanning. What about how you're going to scan and how's that going to work? My advice is scan everything comes in the door that isn't junk mail. And I would use a copier. All those have FTP or emails. It looks like a regular copier. Lots of companies make them. The staff just knows, attorneys just know, it comes in the door, you scan it. And that's the way you get, and you scan 100%. It will reduce file and storage costs. Many of you are really struggling with storage costs. Not to mention, let me go back to fire again. You got a basement full of paper. That's somewhat of a fire hazard, I think. Electronic, assuming it's backed up, is a good way to do that. It does allow multiple users to access the file, so two of you can use it at once. This is a big deal to the court. If you ever gone to court where the judge needs to maybe go to a judge and it's originally assigned to another judge, or somebody's checked out the file, nobody can, and then you can't, with electronic filing, the court will have access in multiple places. The law does not require that, as it's proposed, as it's coming into effect, you to keep any paper of legal documents in your office, with the few exceptions that Donna mentioned. And that, of course, is wills and there's some birth certificates. There's some minor items. On the other hand, I would also caution you that I think your malpractice carrier and sound business advice might dictate you keep your paper files at least for a period of time. But it's not in the rules. I did mention, quality. And I talked about the person who is responsible for filing. But that also talks about quality. And people have asked that. Do I have to OCR my documents? But think about this. If you're filing a document in court right now, in paper, you're not going to have misspelled, you're not going to have misspelled